Hello, so this is the training session on how to define layouts within EmployeeCenter and define them using the registered views menu that controls the general layout of the system and the menus that you see. This is the first session in the training set of slides for personalizing and defining your own views. So let's start with a menu that's very important to EmployeeCenter. It's called the Registered Views menu. And basically this menu defines all the different panels and screens that you'll see within the Applaud screens. So there's a profile option that is called XXAS Registered EmployeeCenter Views menu. Within that profile option you specify the name of the menu. And then that menu defines every possible screen that you can see within the solution, both on mobile and desktop. So if I cross over to our training system, here is our system working. This is the screen that you see when you log in. Down the left here we see our different menu options. So I've got things like the welcome page, work list, profile, team, personal information, and so on. So if I come out of here and go into the standard responsibilities for setting up this information, we'll see how that menu is constructed. So here I'm going to use Functional Administrator. This is the responsibility I tend to use when looking at setup. You can use the call forms as well. First of all, we're going to look at that profile option I just mentioned. So this is a good point to say that all the setup that we deliver as Applaud, when you go into all the standard Oracle screens like profiles, like messages, like menus, like functions, everything that we ship will start with the letters XXAS. And that's the way that you can tell that something has been delivered by ourselves. So here we're going to go into the profile screen. We're going to look at the profile options that start with XXAS. Those are all the Applaud ones. Right, here we have a number of profile options that we ship. There's a few of these on here that we deliver in the software product. One that we're interested in is this menu here. So this menu here will be, you'll be very acquainted with this menu by the time we finish this training course. This is the most important menu that we have in our solution. Here's the profile option, and here is the name of the menu that we will be using to run EmployeeCenter. So basically this is the master menu containing submenus, each submenu being a page on the screen. Now you see here we've got a prefix of XXX. We'll talk about why we have that later, but if I just copy that now, that's the name of the menu. I'll go to the menu screen, have a look at that. This is just a normal Oracle menu, and you can see on here we have the menu options that you saw when I was in EmployeeCenter. If I bring up the screen later to show you the UI that we have, you had things like the welcome, work list, profile, personal options, and so on. So basically when you see the list of options in the EmployeeCenter screen, they correspond to menu functions and menus within this master menu here. The prompts on the menu are the prompts on here, and then there's also this description here which gives you a kind of, when you roll your cursor over a menu option, it gives you a tooltip. That's sourced from the description on the menu. So let me just get a second browser up, and we can see the setup running side by side with the EmployeeCenter actually running. Okay, so logging in now. So what I've done now is I'm logging into EmployeeCenter. We can see the UI running side by side with the setup. So you see here, when I roll my cursor over any different option, what I'm seeing is the description is on here. Okay, so that's the first step of doing a setup or investigating the setup of Applaud. You go to this Registered Views menu and you see these are each menus in this menu corresponds to a page or a menu item down here. So let me just take a simple one called Profile. Here you've got a few panels on the screen. We've got contact details, employee details, supervisor hierarchy. In Oracle terms, this page here is a menu. Okay, this whole page is a menu, and within the menu you have different functions representing each of these panels. Okay, so overview is a menu, and within the menu 1, 2, 3 functions representing each panel. Now I can see that by drilling into this option here called Profile. See, this is a menu that's got a number of submenus. Those submenus correspond to the items on the menu here. I've got overview, bio tags, qualifications, resume, and so on all the way down. And then if I click on, say, this one here, overview view, I can see the different panels in the overall screen. See, so I've got contact details here, then I've got employment details here, and I've got supervisor hierarchy down the bottom. Okay, so it's a fairly simple setup. If you're thinking of just general Oracle setup, these options down here are a top level menu, then you have the sub menu underneath for the sub options, and then each of these panels on a page is a function. So if I go back to the training slides, let's walk through that again. So here we have the Registered Views menu. You should always customize and copy the menus that we deliver. Don't go and change anything that we ship out of the box, because this will be talked about a little bit more in day 4, but you should never change our delivered configuration. You should always be taking copies of our configuration, changing it yourself in the same way as you'd copy Oracle configuration and copy this. So this is a sort of an example of a menu that you would take. You would remove the features that your customer doesn't want. You'd add in extras if you need to, and then make it your own menu that maintain going forward. Right, so layouts. We currently ship a number of predefined layouts in the solution, and basically what we mean by layouts is how the panels are configured on the screen. So the most common one is what we call a one region layout or one panel layout. Then you have other ones where you have 2 panels on one screen, something like absence, which is quite common. We've got three regions, and then finally there's an option for 4 regions on here. Now you can change the proportions of the panels or regions. You can make them taller or fatter or wider. What you can't do though is change the general configuration of the panels on the screen. You can't suddenly come out with a different arrangement of rectangles to suit your requirements. The layouts are fixed, but the actual proportions of each region within the screen you can change. So when you're defining a screen or defining a new layout for yourself, the first thing you've got to decide is how many panels you're going to show on the screen at once. And actually there's a number of functions that you have to choose from, which define the number of regions and the configuration of the regions on the screen. So in this case, here's our layout menu for absence, and in the case of absence we've got 3 regions, and so there's a special function that we have to define that particular layout. So if you do a search for all functions and you look at Applaud EmployeeCenter layout %, you'll find all the different options there are. These are also in a particular menu all in one place, so you can review all the different options you have. but usually you would look at the ones that we ship and you choose one that's similar to the ones that we've shipped out of the box and copy that. So when you're defining a new layout menu, take the menu, the first thing you need to do is take this layout function to tell EmployeeCenter how many panels are going to be on the screen. Right, now we have individual functions within the menu, and each one of these functions we call a view function. It's quite an important term that we use a lot when we're talking about configuration. So each one of the panels on the screen corresponds to a function, just a regular function in this layout menu. So here for absence we've got 3, we've got leave balance, policy notes, absences. All right, they're just normal functions. Okay, now if you actually look at what those functions, how they look, just normal functions you'd recognise. There's function information, give them a name and a code, description. Then we have an icon. I'll talk about the icons in a second, about why we use them. This object name is very, very important, but we won't worry about it now. We'll talk about this in the second set of sessions on security. But this object name is an extremely important part of the function setup. So this will be coming under the RBAC training that we do soon. Now, this is the important stuff when you look at the parameters on the view function. It's important to get these right. So first of all, we have a parameter called pmodule. A pmodule can take a variety of values, but basically it defines what is going to be embedded in that particular page or region. So we have some predefined modules. Org chart is one. There's a number of those as well. Time cards is another one. So where we have something like org chart, it means there's a specific UI component that will be displayed within that region. Now we have a very special one called flexible, and that basically means user defined. These are the ones that you as consultants or customers will be using and working with most frequently, because these are the types of modules that you can customize and change and personalize. A lot of the modules that we ship are also flexible modules. Things like absence, personal information, qualifications, those sorts of things are also flexible. And it basically, flexible just means that you can change anything on it through configuration. And the configuration options are what we're covering in this part of the course. Then we have this kind of parameter called layout type, and that can take 2 values, form or list. So a form region, if we go back to, let's have a look at EmployeeCenter running again. So this is an example of a form region here. Form region is a bunch of prompts and data. So in database terms, this is like one record on the database. Okay, it's one row on the database. Prompt data, prompt data, prompt data, that's called a form view. If we go to something like, let's go to absence. What's going to load now is my absence history, and I'm going to see a number of absences in a list. That's an example of a list view. So in database terms, we've got more than one row showing in a particular region. Okay, so this is a flexible module, something that you can change through configuration, and you've got 2 settings for it. You have a list. Every list has a pop-up detail view as well, and each one of those rows on there corresponds to a row on the database. Or you can have a form view where essentially you're just bringing back one row of data with a prompt and some text. And finally, we have a formula specified. So this is a fast formula. We use fast formula a lot. And in this particular case, we use fast formula for personalization of the panel or region. So the formula controls the data that's shown in the region, and the prompts controls the help text and anything else that you want to do. We'll tackle formula in the next section. Right. So this is very important, again, and if you start working with Applaud and you raise support issues on the help desk, one of the very first things we often ask when trying to diagnose issues is, please give us the specification of your view function and we'll probably be looking for screenshots or details of the parameters against the view function. Okay, in terms of icons, just to slot this in, we have what we call an icon bank. Icons, as you will see, appear all over EmployeeCenter. You have icons on the top left of each region. You also have icons in the menu over here. So these icons are currently pre-configured. You can't change them. We have 100 or so you can look at. I often take this slide and use icons if we're configuring new icons for a panel from here, but we don't, because we're often introducing new icons, we actually don't document new icons all the time. There's an option on the menu called Icon Bank. You can get access to that by giving yourself a role called Applaud Functional Configurator. But just for now, if we log into our particular screen here, if you've got Functional Configurator, you will see this extra option against your user called Icon Bank. I click on Icon Bank. It says all the possible icons that you can use, and you can choose which icons to display down the left on this main menu, and also to display on the top left of the panel. Okay, so there's a whole bunch there. Now you see under each picture there's a bit of text. So suitcase, for example, and that corresponds to that function parameter over here. So when we were looking at the view function, see the icon is specified there as a name. What that means is that you take that from the icon bank. When you see icons on the panels here, that's where it's coming from. It's coming from the icon that's set against that particular view function. So you can obviously change these icons as you see fit, but you have to take them from our pre-existing icon bank. And those also appear on mobile as well. The icons down the left here on the menu, they are inherited from the icon that's on the top left panel on any page. So I go for personal information, for example, top left panel, that's the one that's taken. Pay, top left panel. Payslips is a common one that people do change the icon to match the currency symbol of their implementation. So that's one that is often changed by customers when you go and do this for real. Okay. So now we're getting into exercises. What I'm going to do is I'm going to run through the exercise questions here. There's guidance on the top of the sheet for how long we think this should take. How it's going to work in this recorded training is I'm going to pause the session for 30 seconds after I say let you pause the recording and then go ahead and do the exercises while the video is paused. After we get going, I will run through the answers towards the end of this recording. So this exercise is 10 minutes. It's really an exercise for you to understand the basic setup I've covered, look at the profile options, look at the menus, try to understand navigating around the layout menus and the functions, and answer a few questions on the setup that we showed. So I'm going to let you pause the recording at this point, and when you come back, I will start going over the answers. Okay, so hopefully you have completed this exercise on our training environment. Let's go through each question in turn and work through the answers. So question 1, use the profile option XXAS registered EmployeeCenter views menu to find the registered views menu for your installation. So let's go into our training instance here. So I use Functional Administrator. You're welcome to use the menu forms if that's what you're more familiar with as well. But for here we go to Core Services, Profiles, And the question was, use the profile option XXA as registered EmployeeCenter views menu to find the registered views menu for your installation. Okay, so XXAS. Wait for Oracle to kick into action. There we go. And here we have XXA is registered in EmployeeCenter views menu. That's the name of the menu. So we've already been through this, but it's worth reiterating how you get to that menu. So you should have had the answer XXX Applaud EmployeeCenter registered views if you're using our own training environment. Okay, next question. What is the name of the layout menu for absence in this installation? So the next thing we have to do is go to that particular menu. One we just found. Click on this. Okay, so absences is actually on the sub menu here. So there's a top level menu called time and absence. Underneath there's two options, one called leave and absence, one called time cards. So if I click on time and absence layout, this is the top level menu, and under here we have two sub menus. And the top one is the layout menu for absence. So the question was, what's the name of the layout menu for absence in this installation? The answer was XXX Applaud Absence View. Alright, so this particular layout is defining the view we're looking at here on the screen. What is the name of the function that defines the employment details in the overview panel? So first of all, we've got to work out where the overview panel is. Shouldn't take too long. We've looked at it a few times. It's under the profile top level menu. There's overview, and there's employment details there. Okay, what's the name of the function that defines it? So what we do, we go back to our registered views menu. You look at the profile, that's the top level menu there. We look at overview, and there's the name of the function there. XXX Applaud view employment details. So that function there is helping to define this region up here on the top right. What is the name of the icon used for the address panel in the personal information layout? Okay, so let's flip again. So personal information is under personal. And under that you've got personal phones, addresses, basic details. Oops. Let's click there. Go back to personal. So you've got 4 panels: basic, phones, home address, contacts. The question is, what's the name of the icon specifying that little pin there? So again, we go back to the menu, registered views. So we know that the address is under this personal layout here. That's the top level menu. Click down one, click down another one to get the addresses. And here we've got the different menu options. There's basic details, phones, home addresses, contacts. Don't worry too much about these other ones you see here called create. We'll cover that towards the end of this session and into tomorrow. For now, we're looking at the address details here. You can tell this is a panel for display because it's got a prompt, and this prompt here defines the prompt at the top of each panel. So you can change the prompt here if you need to. So home address, click on that, and in here we see an icon called location. Right, if I was to click on the icon menu, location should be in here somewhere. In fact, let's just go directly back into the screen. This is the master for where all the icons are stored and called. If You see an icon in EmployeeCenter, it should be in here somewhere. Although my eyes aren't finding it very easy. There it is. Okay, location. Final question. What is the name of the fast formula that is used to personalize the employment details panel? Very good. So let's go back to the employment details panel. We looked at that earlier. It's under Profile, under Overview, under Employment, and there is the formula name there. Okay, so the next topic, the next recording is all about formula. It's all about how those formula are used to display and personalize information, and this is an example one that we'll look at as part of the next session. Okay, that's the end of this recording. The next recording will cover fast formula and personalizations.